So with the launch of Season 5 of Delta Force, the AKM barrels saw some buffs. Now, some of them got buffed differently from other ones and have been wanting to make a performance barrel build for the AKM. Now, I know what everybody's going to say. Jesus, another AKM build? Yes, because the AKM is probably one of the best weapons in the game right now. It's got the fastest TTK, and it's the AKM. What's not to love? So in today's video, I wanted to share my performance Hipfire build with all of you, and boy, it is a blast to play with. So starting off with a base AKM here, just looking at the stats, you can see the base weapon actually does 26 damage, 34 to the chest, 49 to the head, but some of the barrels actually modify the damage of the AKM, which is the barrel we're going to go for. So the AKM performance barrel combo, as you can see, significantly reduces base hipfire spread, so it completely changes how the weapon functions pretty much overall. And you can see all the positives here, and you can see though it reduces the upper chest damage. Now just looking at the details, it does increase the headshot damage multiplier up to 52 damage per shot. So you're doing a 2x headshot damage multiplier, which is absolutely crazy. And with 52 damage, that's 2 shots to kill in, you know, what is that, 32 meters with this barrel. So that is actually really, really good. So we're going to go ahead and install that. Then for the muzzle, since I wanted to focus a little bit more on the hipfire aspect of this specific barrel, I went with the DTK muzzle brake, which is pretty much the only one that actually gives you extra accuracy, and it also provides you with some control. Then you can't actually put a foregrip on here because it all comes as one piece. For the mag, I simply opted for the 40 round extended mag here. I didn't want to, you know, have the 70 round that just takes forever to reload and it reduces your handling by a lot. So I simply went with the 40 rounder in this case, and then slapped on a mag assist. For the rear grip, I'm going to go with the AK heavy tower grip here because it gives you accuracy. And then for the grip base, we're going with the balanced grip base that gives you another +4 accuracy. For the stock, now you have a multitude of options here. One of them that I really like is the AK polymer stock because this gives you positives across the board, and you get to keep the option to put a stock pad on here, which also gives you positives across the board. For the charging handle, literally no downsides, so you just go ahead and equip that. And then for the optic, I went with the multi-purpose tactical riser with the RDS of my choice, in this case simply the mini RDS, if it can install. And then finally a tactical device, whatever one you want is perfectly fine. Let's just go green because it matches this theme of the skin I have equipped on the AKM right now. For the calibration, we're going with +50 grams and -10 millimeters to get extra ADS speed and extra firing stability. For the rear grip, we're going to go with +50 grams and -20 millimeters to get extra control and extra hipfire aim speed. For the AKM polymer stock, we're going with +50 grams, +15 millimeters to get extra firing stability and extra control. And then finally for the riser optic, we're simply going with -20 millimeters. Now, if we look at the stats of the weapon, going straight to details, you can see, as I mentioned earlier, the increased headshot damage multiplier at the cost of a lower base damage to the chest. For the control, you can see it is super weird, the actual recoil pattern of the performance barrel, but the hipfire accuracy on this thing, especially when you're stationary, is just absolutely wild. And I'll just show you guys real quick in the firing range after we go through this. So we increased it by 9. So you're gonna want to kind of like tap fire this weapon to keep that initial like just vertical recoil pattern and forego this. So really tap firing or burst firing at like, you know, 5, 6, 7 shots and then stopping, and then 5, 6, 7 shots and then stopping to really avoid this just nightmare of a recoil pattern. For the handling, not terrible. So we only decreased it by -1, so it's at 326 milliseconds. But then factor in the laser, it would be at 276 milliseconds, which is really, really fast. For the stability, we increased about 4, which is not the best, but it'll make do because the current lens firing stability is actually 0.65x, which is very nice. And then the recoil reduction when holding breath is 0.9, but you're not going to be using this thing at crazy long ranges, so it doesn't really matter. And then the accuracy, we bumped it up by 20 to really get a tight hipfire spread. So if we go into the firing range real quick, I just want to show you how crazy the hipfire on this thing is. So obviously, like right here, it's, you know, it's a moot point to test it at that range, but this target is at 50 meters, okay? Look at that. That is absolutely wild for a weapon to hipfire down so accurately at such a long range. Now, obviously, you're getting the reduced damage of the performance barrel, but if you're aiming for headshots, that's 2 shots to kill. So you can see it just absolutely mows down people, even with the hipfire at like 50 meters. It's crazy. Obviously, you're not always going to be being stationary when you're hipfiring the weapon, but if you're looking at somebody that's a good distance away and they're not really looking at you, then you can just, you know, stay stationary and hipfire them down, and it's going to be really, really fun. So in order to use this specific build, you will need to level up the AKM to level 60, and obviously try out all the different barrels as well. I just wanted to make an AKM build with the performance barrel because I find it so unique in how it changes all the basic function of the AKM. The hipfire is just through the roof when you're stationary, and it's an absolute blast to play. And I love hipfire weapons in Delta Force. I just think they're really amusing to play with and build, which is why I wanted to make one with that specific barrel so much. So if you'd like to see a weapon featured in an upcoming episode, please leave it in the comment section down below. The share code will be in the description as well as in the top pinned comment. In any case, I'll leave you a few highlight clips of me using the specific build. But yeah, hit the like button if you enjoyed the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and as always, thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a good one.